Welcome, everyone. This is John Ryan, and this is the Tuesday edition of the Daily Dime Show. And the Daily Dime is an NCAA basketball show, and I'm sure you're going to be able to watch this one because we're going to break down two of the games in the Sweet 16 that are going on Thursday and Friday. And I'm going to provide you with an NIT game that goes tomorrow night. So, without further ado, you already know who Jesse Schule is, and he's one of my favorite guests and very loyal guests, I might add. In fact, all my guests are loyal. Nobody is not loyal. Didn't mean to say it that way, Jesse, but welcome to the show. I know you have, I think you probably are going to go on a rant here eventually during the show. I'm just warning the viewers that this could be pretty good entertainment. But the 15 seed St. Peter's Peacocks from Jersey City are taking on the Purdue Boilermakers from Indiana. That's a 3 seed, by the way, with Purdue on a neutral court. I think everybody's up in arms like, oh my goodness gracious, why is Purdue a double-digit favorite? Well, initially, I will tell you that they are the better team, at least on paper. They do have to play the game. But what is amazing, Jesse, is that 29% of the bets right now are on Purdue. I'll tell you right now, I'm leaning Purdue right now. But I want to hear your breakdown of this game and some of the, I guess the hook is the word you're probably going to use because there's been too many dogs covering and now it's time for a double-digit favorite to win. So take it away and tell us where your money's going.
Too many dogs. You hear that a lot in March Madness. Oh, look at all those upsets. I'll tell you what, that is nothing short of gaslighting. There isn't too many dogs. Believe it or not, the NCAA tournament is easier to predict than most people think it is. While the conversations at the water cooler in the morning are about all the upsets, what they don't tell you is the favorites still win the majority of the time. In the first round, teams like Duke, Gonzaga, Villanova, Baylor, North Carolina, Duke, they all won their matchups by 20-plus points. And you hear about the one team, the St. Peter's, that makes it into the Sweet 16. It's an anomaly. It's not the norm. The deal is St. Peter's, they're just coming out of nowhere. I mean, they were 3-6 in non-conference play this season. If St. Peter's makes the Final Four, I will dye my hair blue. I'll tell you that right now.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean peacock blue?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I'll even wear a peacock suit if you want.
But, I am recording this, Jesse. I want you to be sure you know that we're recording this and people are going to hear it.
Well, you remember the European Championships in soccer.
That's true.
I dyed my hair blonde. But, yeah, I mean, people want to compare St. Peter's to other teams that have had these Cinderella runs. I don't think it's fair to compare St. Peter's to a team like Loyola Chicago when they made the Final Four in 2018. That team won 17 of their last 18 games. They upset number 5 ranked Florida during the non-conference schedule. St. Peter's hasn't done anything like that. I'm just going to say that, Cinderella, the story ends with the pumpkin turning or the carriage turning into a pumpkin, and the bubble's going to burst for St. Peter's here. I'm taking Purdue. I think good value, minus 12 and a half. I'll take it all day.
And I'm with you on it, Jess, but I have one question for you. This game is taking place in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo Center, which is an easy drive down Interstate 95 for the fan base from St. Peter's. Do you think that it's even going to matter?
I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, it's difficult for a team like St. Peter's to keep this kind of run up, and we've seen in the past when teams like that, when they bow out of the tournament, they usually don't lose by a buzzer beater in overtime. They usually get shellacked.
Very true, very true. And the second game is at Wells Fargo is UCLA and North Carolina, so that's not going to attract any local fan base for sure. So I think that's the only concern I see. I just see Purdue coming out of the gates, like you said, with a mission at hand, and to take them out of the game and give them absolutely no hope of pulling off another upset. Purdue's not going to take this team lightly. There's no way you know what I'm trying to say that I can't say on the air. So anyway, let's move on to my game here, Jesse, which is in the NIT. It's tomorrow night, and this is Wake Forest against Texas A&M. Two teams that, I was kind of shocked that neither one of them got into the NCAA tournament, but they're playing, and this is going to be a competitive game. Just because it's the NIT doesn't mean they don't show up. These games mean a lot for recruiting, a lot personally. A lot of the seniors want to go out as winners, even if it's the NIT championship. It's not to diminish the point. The NIT is played at Madison Square Garden down the road, and that's it's just an unbelievable venue. Just to say that you played a basketball game there is really a great experience. So in this game, we have Wake Forest 25-9 on the season, 21-13 against the spread. And similarly, Texas A&M is 25-12 on the season, 21-15 against the number. They've gone over 22 out of 36 games. And so has the Deacons. The Demon Deacons have gone over 21 times in 34 tries this year. But I'll tell you who I'm taking. I'm taking the dog. Texas A&M is favored by 2.5. The over-under is 147. I like Wake Forest to win this game outright using the money line. And from my predictive models, I can tell you that Wake Forest is 6-0 straight up, 5-1 against the spread, and 6-0 to the over when scoring 75 or more points and having more assists than the opponent. So that's what we're expecting in this game. We're expecting them to score 75 or more and have more assists than Texas A&M. Those two things come together. I like my chances that Wake Forest is not just going to cover the 2.5. They're going to win this game possibly by double digits. I'll go out on a limb. I wouldn't bet the alternative line, Jesse, but I do like Wake Forest quite a bit here. Lastly, Wake Forest is 5-0 straight up against the spread and over the total when scoring 75 or more and getting 37 to 42 rebounds in games dating to the last 3 seasons. And then going all the way back to 2012, using that same scenario of 37 to 42 rebounds, scoring 75 or more points, Wake Forest is 28-7 straight up, 17-10 and 2 pushes against the number, and 20-8 over the total. So based on what I just said, I like Wake Forest more than the over, but I would not be afraid to play both of them, maybe as a 3% on Wake and then a 2% on the over. Now, let's get to the last game here, and I know this is one that you really want to talk about. The Houston Cougars. They were in the Final Four last year and then got shellacked. 37% of the bets are on them right now. They're getting only 1.5 points against a number 1 seed, Arizona Wildcats, who I think they have all the talent in the world to win the whole thing. But Houston is a team, 31-5, 24-12 against the number, going up against Arizona, 33-3 for the season, 20-15-1 against the spread. I find it hard to believe Arizona is only a 1-point favorite. Tell us, Jesse, where your best bet is in this matchup.
Well, John, like I said, people want to see underdogs win. They talk about the underdogs a lot, but at the end of the day, at this point in the tournament, it's usually all about the favorites. And for Arizona as a 1 seed to be this priced this way, only you could take them on the money line easily at minus 130, minus 135, maybe 140. To get a 1 seed at that price, I can't pass that up. Arizona faced some adversity against TCU, but I was extremely impressed with how they handled that. And I think that pays dividends heading into this next round. Houston hasn't really been challenged. Of course, they won their first 2 games by double digits. And that experience in those tight finishes is quite valuable as you move further along in the tournament. I think because the fact that Houston made the Final Four last year, there might be a little bit of recency bias at play. Expecting them to do it again. In a typical season, 3 of 4 number 1 seeds make it to the Final Four. And here we are, Arizona as a 1 seed. I think they're going to be the team that's going to advance.
And I agree with you, Jesse. The only concern, I want to hear what you have to respond with this. BPI. And I know it's just one stat, and it may not mean much at all at the end of the day, but the recent champions have been in the top 3 in BPI, and Houston comes into this third. Any concern with that, or do you think that's why this line, to me, and I know you agree with this, that Houston is just so overvalued right now? And after all, they've gone 9-1 against the number, which means the market is chasing them against a team that Arizona's gone 5-5 against the spread, but they too are 9-1 down the stretch the last 10. It makes me think that Arizona is correctly priced as a team, but Houston is just overvalued by 4 or 5 points at this point. But what do you think about that BPI? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter to me. I look at Houston. I think Houston's a great team. I think they can beat almost anybody, but not a number 1 seed. Or they can beat a number 1 seed, but I wouldn't want to mortgage my house on it. And I will point out the fact that they made the Final Four last year. All their wins they made the Final Four last year, but all their wins en route to the Final Four were against double-digit seeds. Then they play number 1 ranked Baylor, and they lose by 19 points.
I love it, and I agree wholeheartedly with this. I think this line obviously is off by a lot. And like we said, we could be dead wrong, but I think we have a lot of experience here that's telling us that something's fishy in this matchup, and you should at least stay off of Houston. So, Jesse, that brings us to the end of the show here, and thank you for your time as always, and we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of the NCAA College Basketball Daily Dime. And folks, remember, get over to SportsMemo.com. Jesse Schule is one of the best handicappers and professional bettors I know, and I've known him for a long time. He's running hot. I'm running hot in the NBA with 70% winners over the last 30 days. So do yourself a favor and get on board our subscriptions at discounted rates, and I assure you you'll be glad you did. So until tomorrow, remember 2 things. Bet with your head, never over it, and may all the wins continue to be yours.